I'm Heyzeus, and this isn't the video I wanted to be making tonight. I was hoping to do something else, but circumstances have recently changed, and it's something I consider within my jurisdiction. As I'm sure most of you have heard, Valve has introduced a 7-day trade ban on any items received during a trade. This decision has huge implications. There's a lot of discussion going on about it, but we're just going to start at the beginning. We're going to look at the explainer Valve has given to go along with the announcement. So if we get up the announcement, you can look through it, you can sort of read the following. So, quote, "Over time, third parties have developed services that use automated Steam accounts to mimic players and make use of Steam's trading functionality. Unfortunately, some of these third-party services have become a vector for fraud or scams. Unlike players, these services rely on the ability to trade each item frequently. In contrast, a given item moves between actual players no more than once a week in the vast majority of cases." Now, I know some people don't take Valve at their word on this. There's a lot of people that think this is actually an effort to move a lot of the market volume onto the Steam community market so Valve can make extra money from sales tax. I don't think that's the case. I think if Valve wanted to do that, they would have done it a long time ago. I'm inclined to take them at their word here. And looking at this, we can see who they're trying to target with this update. The aim of this update isn't to destroy OP skins or trading sites. In fact, it doesn't even appear to be targeting legitimate gambling sites or case opening sites. I know some people will say there's no such thing as a legitimate gambling site or case opening site, but by that I mean the ones that don't just take your skins and run. In fact, it doesn't even sound like they're targeting small-time scammers, so things like, the guy who tricks you into depositing onto his fake OP skins bot. They're only going after people who use automated Steam bots with this update. Larger and more technically complicated operations than just a guy or two in their basement trying to trick some 12-year-old with the promise of mad overpay. And this does affect how I view this update, because if it was part of a much broader effort by Valve to root out all scamming, I would be more tolerant of it, but it's not. It's only going after a particular scamming niche, and I think that's relevant as to how much damage to the trading community is really acceptable from this. Now, as for Valve's point that skins typically aren't traded more than once a week, it obviously doesn't automatically follow that this means a week-long trading ban won't have negative consequences. And in all fairness, I don't think Valve really thinks that themselves, because they immediately point out that they realise this will be disruptive for some people, and that they want trading to remain a useful feature. Now, you wouldn't bring up the fact that you want trading to remain a useful feature unless you were worried that this update might undermine that. Additionally, we should note that they are openly inviting feedback. They wouldn't have put their email address in that blog post unless they wanted it. So, taking this as a whole, this strikes me as an experiment on Valve's part to see whether they can get rid of some scamming without causing too many problems in the market. And there is some self-awareness here. They're open to feedback. There is the prospect of a change in policy if it doesn't work out. So, what happens if this change is here to stay? What does it mean? Well, it's going to particularly screw things up for smaller traders. The amount of money a trader can make has a lot to do with how many trades they can do. If you limit them to one trade per week for each item they have, you're going to constrict the amount of money they can make. Now, if you're a big-end trader, if you sell really high-end stuff, rare stuff worth a fortune, and you're making quite a bit of money for each trade, this is a colossal pain, but it's probably going to be worth your time. If you're trading stuff that's worth thousands of dollars, at the end of the day, it's probably worth the wait. If you're a little guy with maybe a few $100s in your inventory, and you're picking up a couple of dollars from each trade, it's not going to be worth your time anymore. It's going to take ages to do enough trades to make a decent amount of money, and this part of the trading scene is going to fold up and die. Now, arguably, this type of trading has been in decline anyway. It's not dead, but it's not what it used to be, and a large part of this is the rise of trading sites. Once again, this won't kill the largest trading sites because you can compensate for it. You just add some more bots, you hold on to the items until they become tradable again, the person who deposited can select from the existing tradable skins that you have, and things are more or less back in operation, even if it's a massive pain. But what this does mean is you're going to have a lot more capital involved at any given point. You've got to have a huge backlog of skins in your bots waiting to become tradable, waiting for that trade ban to run out. So what I think this means is there's going to be a decline in competition in the trading site market. A lot of the smaller sites are probably going to get squeezed out because they might not be able to manage the volume of skins required to stay competitive. It's also worth keeping in mind that this will make trading sites more difficult for the community to access as a whole, since there's going to be a lot more skins with trade bans floating around, so the overall significance of trading sites is going to decline. As for OP skins, your cash out sites, obviously they're not happy about this change, and I mean, I'm in agreement with them about it, but I don't think they're going anywhere. There is and will remain a huge market for cashing out skins. They're simply going to have to introduce a holding system until the trade ban runs out, which, once again, is a colossal pain for absolutely everybody, but it's not going to be the death of the skins market either. So, what does this all mean? Well, the big thing it means is a general decrease in liquidity. Now, that's a technical term, it's a finance term, but what it means is the ease with which you can convert skins into currency, or in this context, trade them for other skins. I think that's going to broadly reduce the interest in skins as digital assets, which is a component of the demand for them, and this will probably decrease their prices over the medium term. A slow decline due to them being a pain in the ass to work with, rather than a sudden decline due to a complete loss in value. In turn, I think this loss of liquidity will also probably reduce the ability of the market to correct distorted prices, and what that means is price manipulation will probably get a whole lot easier, which I also don't think is a good thing. So, to sum that up, I think there's going to be bad consequences. I think it's going to hurt small traders unfairly. I think it's going to overall decrease the value of skins. I think it's going to lead to more price manipulation. These are bad things, but the question that has to be asked is, are there potential benefits from this that might outweigh it? Because, let's be fair, scammers do exist. This is a problem, and it's understandable that Valve wants to do something to address it. And I'll be honest, if this change made serious progress in doing that, I'd probably be in support of it, but my concern is that it doesn't. First of all, Valve is obviously intending to target certain scammers with this, and it will obviously slow them down. It'll make their operation more difficult. They're going to have to wait a week to sell that skin they stole off a kid. But unless someone at Valve specifically intervenes, steps in, bans the bot, reverses a trade, something like that, they haven't actually stopped the scam. That 1 week on, the scammer's still cashing out that skin. We're still relying on Valve to specifically step in on a case-by-case basis and stop them during that time period. Now, maybe Valve fully intends to do just that, and they're planning on putting quite a lot of effort into it, but in the absence of any evidence of that, I can't just assume that this is part of a broader plan. And without that broader program, it might slow down some scammers, but at the end of the day, there's still going to be a profit to be made through scamming, and when there's a profit to be had through scamming, scammers will adapt. I don't think the cost of this change is worth the benefits. So, what am I recommending people do about this? My recommendation is that people should contact Valve and let them know that you think this is a bad idea. They ask for feedback, I say let's give it to them. But I do think it's important that it's polite feedback, and I'll link to a useful Reddit thread in the description that talks about what sort of feedback you should give Valve. I'll also leave a link to the change.org petition. I think there is a good chance Valve will reconsider. My parting recommendation would be, don't panic. This isn't going to be the end of the CSGO economy, but at the same time, I think it's important that it's as strong as ever, and that's why I think we need to let Valve know this is not a good idea. Anyway, thanks for watching. Trust the numbers, not your guts. I'm Heyzeus. See ya.